Hi there, and welcome to the High School in the Credit System presentation. As the title indicates, it is a whole new world of education that is about to begin. But don't worry, you will do fine, and we are here to help if you get confused or need assistance along the way. While we hope you will find this video informative and beneficial, we are always here to help with any questions that you may have. Kathy Grad assists students in kindergarten through grade 9, and in particular in those in grade 9 who are getting ready to begin grade 10. Once you are in grade 10 courses, or even just getting ready for grade 10, either Renee, John, or Kayla will be assigned to you and will reach out to you to introduce themselves. These individuals will stay with you throughout your high school experience at the DLC. If you are just joining the DLC in grades 10, 11, or 12 and have not yet been assigned a course counselor, feel free to drop Renee an email with any questions that you may have. Before jumping right into what is new for the DLC and those entering grade 10 in particular, there are some things that will never change. If you are new to the DLC, you can expect to see these things for the first time, and they will continue throughout your education with us. We are a team here at the DLC. We operate under a student-centered model. So this here is a Venn diagram, and in a true Venn diagram, there would have been much more overlap, as each of the partners in this diagram will work with each other, where appropriate of course, to ensure the best education and supports possible. The family provides in-home support and guidance for the student. They ensure that a proper learning environment exists, that students have time available and scheduled to work on courses, and they assist in content learning. They are not only the people who provide educational support, they are the ones that make sure emotional support helps our students feel motivated and stay on track. Successful education is difficult without the family as a learning mentor. Administrative, technology, and communication staff are often the unsung heroes of education. They hold everything together and ensure that students and their families have as smooth of an educational experience as possible, providing a wide range of courses, ensuring that timely emails go out about course progress as well as what is happening at the DLC, for example, field trips, important dates, student spotlights, and whatnot, or assistance with technical questions are all part of their responsibilities and ways that they contribute to a student's education. Teachers at the DLC are just like any teachers. They are responsible for providing quality learning opportunities, offering assistance with course material and feedback on assessments, and to be available to guide students through course material in a timely manner. SSCC stands for Student Services and Course Counseling Team, who offer guidance on courses, career planning, short-term and long-term goal setting, and the like. I just introduced them to you in one of the earlier slides. This is available for all students in grades 10 through 12. Whereas the SST, or the Student Support Team, become involved with our students under the age of 22 years who are experiencing academic difficulties due to learning challenges and mental health concerns. Their supports vary based on the needs of the student. And all of these people together help our students. So together, each of these partners assists with student success. But the ultimate success comes down to the work ethic and efforts of the student. Students bring time management, hard work, and dedication, a willingness to be open to new experiences and information, and so much more to the experience. It takes all of these people for the student to have a successful experience at the DLC. So no matter the time, place, or pace you are working on your course, your goal is likely to achieve at a level that you appreciate. That is something that our staff is going to continue to encourage. We want you to do well in a way that works for you. Consistent effort means consistent progress within a flexible learning environment. We recognize that every student has a different level of comfort when it comes to communicating with teachers and other people within the school. However, we do want to strongly encourage students to maintain communication with their teachers and other education professionals as necessary in order to have the best learning experience possible and to get feedback and support that they need from teachers, just like you would in a regular school. Although we are going to begin looking at what has changed, it is more just building on what you've learned throughout your education so far. We are simply going to add information to what you already know by highlighting the new credit system that you are entering, as well as the role that you play in your education through course selection. Pictured here is Mr. Bennett. He uses modern technology to track student physical activity. Students participate in healthy lifestyle options of their own choice and in their own environment while wearing a heart rate monitor. This information is tracked electronically and communicates to an app that Mr. Bennett accesses to evaluate student progress. While not every course is so high-tech, we can promise you that each teacher feels passionate about their subject and is willing to share that passion with you. So, while I definitely discourage this when doing a slideshow, I am actually going to read this slide to you and maybe explain it a little bit. So, as I mentioned, we are going to enter into the credit system once you enter grade 10. Okay. While you're still going to want to do your best in courses, there is a need to achieve at least a 50% in each course in order to earn a credit. Okay, so in the past, you may have been working on a 5-point scale system. You may not have received percentages. You may have received percentages, but they really didn't have a lot of value in regards to whether you moved on or didn't move on. From now on, you will need at least a 50% in order to complete a course successfully. And if you aren't able to achieve 50%, you will need to retake the course if it is a core course. And we'll talk about core courses in a little bit here. Okay, the results are now recorded of every class that you take with the Saskatchewan Ministry of Education, and marks over 50% will earn you a credit. Okay, you can see over here in this area that it also breaks down, this is from the Ministry of Education, breaks down which courses are needed at which grade level. Okay, so just to sort of talk about the credit system a little bit and what we're looking at here, the credit system is just a fancy way of saying you have to take courses and you will earn credits for your achievements. So if you get that 50%. Some of those credits are required, or core courses. So those are listed here. Okay, and often should reflect your interests, including interests down the road when you are planning for life beyond high school. Okay, so you'll see down here that there's some sciences, social science, additional electives, arts, and whatnot. Those should reflect your interests. Okay. Post-secondary institutions, so colleges, universities, and technical schools, may require specific courses for admission. So within here, you may have to look at that. So even if you don't love a subject, you may need it to move forward with your goals. Okay, so we'll talk about this a little bit more, but for example, math at the 20 level is the last course you need, but for admissions, you may need something higher than that at a 30 level, so that might be reflected in your electives. Okay. While the chart provided here may seem a bit confusing, it does detail all of the courses that you will need to take as set out by the Saskatchewan Ministry of Education, so it is important to know. At the DLC, we will provide you with an easy-to-follow checklist of all graduation requirements, a portion of which will be shared in a future section of the presentation. We also have grade-specific checklists available to you, should that be simpler for those who are interested in it. Okay. Now, we are going to jump into transcripts. You won't see these during your first semester of grade 10, but it is something that is important to understand. So as I just mentioned, any course that earns a 50% is tracked by the Saskatchewan Ministry of Education. They do this on a transcript, which is essentially just a report card for your entire high school experience. And pictured here is an unofficial transcript. An official transcript does look slightly different, and it does only contain the courses that you've had successful attempts in. So if you were unsuccessful and didn't reach a 50% in a course and had to retake it, only the new course would appear on an official transcript. At any time after you've completed a course, your school is able to provide you with an unofficial transcript. It is recommended that this be requested only once a year after mark submissions to ensure that it is accurate, so that all your courses are on it, that the credits were earned, that the grades are correct, and so on. Keep in mind that computers and humans do make errors, so there is the potential that your transcript isn't accurate. So it is a student's responsibility to be the second set of eyes to ensure this accuracy. It also helps you to see what the post-secondary institutions that you are applying to will be seeing. So official transcripts can be ordered directly from the Ministry of Education using this link here. Okay. There is a fee that applies, so it is recommended that you only do this after graduation or when official documentation is needed. And you'll notice that I also put here that you can just Google high school transcript requests as well and get the link if you don't want to try and type all that into your search bar. Okay. I'm going to go through the transcript a little bit now and just explain the different sections so you understand it when you are checking it for accuracy. Up here you will see a big blank white space. Typically there is information in there, name and sometimes address are often found in this space. For this transcript, these things have been removed, as have the birth date and student number of this individual who agreed to share this documentation with us just to ensure anonymity. Okay. The student name, the student number is a unique identifier that is applied by the Ministry of Education. It is used throughout your entire education in the in the elementary and the secondary system. So it also provides anonymity because you don't have a name attached to it. It is a number, but it is a way for them to track sort of what's going on too without attaching your name to anything. Okay. Now, down here, you will see regular credits and alternative credits. The regular credit section indicates how many credits you've received that are either regular, which you would see on your transcript down here as an R, or modified, which you would see as an M, which we will discuss in a moment a little bit more. Alternative credits indicate the number of AE, down here, credits that you have achieved. Alternative credits are significantly reduced curricular outcome credit, so you would know if you had those credits on your transcript or should be taking those. Okay. If we're looking at the program standing achieved box, it refers to the type of program, so French immersion, regular, alternative, etc., that you have achieved at a specific grade level. So nothing will be written in this box until sufficient courses are completed to meet the requirements at each level. So you can see for this individual, they have quite a few grade 10 courses or 10 level courses. But if they had only taken accounting at this point, this individual would not have anything in this box because they would not have achieved enough courses for the grade 10 level. Okay. Now we're going to move down to the main body of the transcript. Most of it's self-explanatory, so I'm going to move through it fairly quickly, but definitely take some time, look at it at your own pace as well. Okay. Completion date column just refers to the month and the year that you completed a course. So for this student, Accounting 10 was completed in January of 2013. The code, you really won't need to worry about this one for the most part. Okay. It is a Ministry of Education code. So for Accounting 10, the system records it as this numeric this numeric right here. When a student registers in it, they don't have the teacher or the office managers type in Accounting 10. They just have to put in a course code for it. Okay. Then description is just the full course name. So sometimes what a school calls it might be slightly different than what it is referred to as by the Ministry of Education. So for example, many schools refer to construction and carpentry as simply construction, yet on the transcript it will appear as construction and carpentry. Type. As I mentioned above, there are different types of credits. We have the modified, the alternative that I've already discussed, as well as the regular. There's also International Baccalaureate and whatnot. So there are different types of credits that will appear here. The IB would stand for International Baccalaureate if they had taken it, and so on. The type section uses a symbol to communicate the class type that you've taken. So as I mentioned, the R, M, and that kind of thing. And people looking at transcripts know how to read those. If something else is listed other than R, okay, you should be aware of your enrollment in that type of course. So if you were in a modified or an alternative or an IB course, then you should be aware of that. In some cases, you will have even had to sign paperwork in order to enroll in those courses. So if you're seeing something else here other than R and you've never had a discussion about a different type of course, then you should look into it a little bit further. Okay. We're not going to worry about grade level a whole lot, simply because it doesn't really mean anything in relation to your academic experience. Okay. Students must take courses in order if there are prerequisites. However, they can take any course level at any time if there are no prerequisites. For example, a student can take Food Studies 30 while they're in grade 10. So even though the student, for example, took Accounting 30, it says grade level 12. This student, I can actually tell you, took Accounting 30 in grade 11. So the grade level doesn't really tell us a lot about when somebody took the course. It just sort of links it to what grade you kind of are expected to take the course in, or they expect you to take the course in. Now, credits earned, this is where the most confusion arises, and this is where you need to pay the most attention. Okay. Sometimes a course may be listed on a transcript that has not earned a credit. So you can see for this transcript, driver's education is listed, okay, but no credit is given. This is because this course was provided in the school building, but the course itself is offered by an external organization. There are a multitude of reasons why a credit may not have been awarded. The most common is when a prerequisite is missing, so a course that you have to take before you take the course that you're in. So Foundations 30, for example, you have to take Foundations 20. If this student didn't have Foundations 20, they would have had a 0 here beside Foundations 30. Okay? If this is the case, students should work the prerequisite into their upcoming courses. And if you see a missing credit on your transcript, be sure to ask why. You need to be aware of this piece. Okay. Final mark is, again, pretty self-explanatory. It is the mark that you have earned in the class overall. Okay. So as you can see for this student, once all academic requirements were met, it was noted at the bottom, okay, that the student had graduated and in the month and year that the graduation took place. Okay. Until you see that on your transcript, the Ministry of Education has not officially recognized that you have graduated. So there may be a concern somewhere in your credits, and you should look into it. And the final section of this page lists the schools that have awarded the marks and the credits and the year in which they did so, or in which the student attended that school. Again, it's been removed in this case in order to ensure the student's anonymity. Okay, so goal setting for the future. As we've already mentioned, you are going to want to consider your future goals as part of your planning. Okay, we talked about the fact that post-secondary admissions sometimes require classes that aren't required for graduation. But there's other things that you should consider as part of your planning in taking courses at the DLC. So if you do not know yet what you would like to do, and of course we definitely don't expect this from you, then high school can be a place where you can explore your likes and dislikes. And some other things that you might want to consider as you become a DLC student include: how many years do you want to take to complete your high school? You know, it doesn't necessarily have to be a 3-year plan. Am I good at multitasking and time management, or do I work better with only a couple of things to focus on at a time? So, you know, should you be taking 5 classes at a time, or maybe 2 classes over a shorter period of time? Do I work better with motivation? What's going to help keep me going day to day, because I'm an independent learner and I need to motivate and manage my own time? Okay. Can I keep a schedule? And if not, what are some things that I can try to keep myself on task? If I have a phone at home, should I set alarms, setting up my class time, things like that? Okay. Understanding yourself as a learner will help you to achieve your goals. And if you need assistance with your plan, your SSCC is here to help. Just reach out to us. Now it is time to jump into course selection. Up until this point in your education, most course choices have been made for you. While that will still be the case for core courses, courses required by the Ministry of Education, you will still have a lot of choices to make. The more informed you are, the better your decisions will be. Pictured here are pieces of a full checklist. So you can see that there have been pieces cut off in places. Okay, so this is just pieces of a full checklist of courses that are necessary for graduation. We typically recommend that students focus on requirements 1 through 6, as well as 14 and 15 over here in their grade 10 year. Wellness 10 is best taken as a full semester or a full year course. The other courses can be arranged in a way that reflect you as a learner. And if you would like to do 1 or 2 at a time over the course of a couple months, instead of 4 at a time over a semester or 8 at a time over a year, which we definitely don't recommend, then that is completely up to you. A well thought out plan is helpful as a distance education learner. When making plans, you will need to consider prerequisites. This is less important with the 10 level courses, as we're looking at right here. Okay. However, you might be interested in a higher level course during your grade 10 year. Prerequisites, as we've mentioned before, and I'm going to mention again, are courses that must be taken before you can take one at a higher level. Okay, prerequisites important to get into very quickly, very early, and pay attention to them because they're critical to your learning pathways. ELA, so I'm going to go through each of these a little bit. ELA stands for English Language Arts. There are 2 ELA courses in grade 10. Okay. Be sure when you are looking at the courses that you are aware of this, because sometimes students do get confused when they see 2 units in the course or something like that. It's 2 separate courses, not 2 units. History 10 is the only course offered of this kind and at this level at the DLC. So if you are coming to us from another school, you may have completed Social Studies 10 or Native Studies 10 as well. The same is also true for Wellness 10. You may have completed Physical Education at any level to meet this requirement. So at Physical Education 10, 20, 30 will all meet the Wellness 10 requirement. So we only offer Wellness 10 here, which is why you see that on our planner. Please keep in mind that Exercise Science 30L does not meet the Wellness 10 requirement. Okay. Science 10, I'm only going to mention it here just because it's something that will come up. But Science 10, there are no choices for it in grade 10, but there will be some important decisions linked to it once you move on to the higher level grades. So it's something to keep in mind as you're going forward. Okay. You will also have choices for math and have important decisions related to it. You'll see a colon here, and that's because you are going to have to make some choices in grade 10 for math. Because this is an important decision, it will be dealt with in a completely different section to highlight it more clearly. For requirements 14 and 15, the PAA stands for Practical and Applied Arts. Both PAA and art courses are available to meet these requirements. There are many options available, which you will soon see when I move on to the next section. And these can be found on a planning sheet which is available to you. All the documents referred to in this presentation can be mailed to you separately so that you can see them more fully. Okay. So here's where I talked about the PAA courses and there being many options. Those are all listed on this course planner. This document contains a full listing of the current DLC courses at this time that the presentation was created today in 2019. So please contact your course counselor for the most up-to-date course planner. As you can see, courses are available at levels 10, 20, and 30. The 10 level courses are more introductory, whereas the 30 level courses require more academic rigor. Some 20 and 30 level courses require prerequisites, which is noted by a P in brackets. So if you look at these ones here, okay, there are some that are starred and some that have P's after them, in particular down here. Okay. Courses followed by the asterisk have recommended prerequisites. So if you see either the asterisk or the P, you should be checking into whether there's something you should be taking before it. While the prerequisites are not required for the courses with an asterisk, it will be difficult to complete the courses successfully without having acquired the knowledge contained in the lower level courses. Any courses that have a full theory or work placement option at the 10 level has a mandatory work placement at the 20 or 30 level. So if we're looking at mechanics here, full theory or work placement options, there are 2 options for taking this course. Once you get into the 20 and 30 levels, there isn't a full 30 option, only a work placement. Okay. These courses are ideal for students who are within the SunWest School Division education boundaries. If you are within another school division's boundaries, we would be willing to discuss the options available. Core courses are outlined at each grade level. Okay. So these are our cores up here. Students are required to complete at least one of each of the core courses and sometimes 2. So if we're looking at English Language Arts in grade 10, as we mentioned before, 2 are required. As there are only 2 options, you're going to be taking both. Okay, whereas with the math, only 1 is required, so you potentially could just take 1 from this section. Any of the core courses may be used as elective if not used to meet the core requirements. So in the case of math, if you decide to take Foundations and Pre-Calculus to meet the core requirement, you can take the Workplace Math as an elective. Electives are courses that have no specific criteria surrounding them other than you will still need to be aware of any prerequisites. Courses with an L, like Forensic Science 20L, can only be used as electives. The L stands for locally developed. We understand there are a lot of rules surrounding course selection, and one of our SSCC would be happy to assist you with the process. Before moving on, just to answer a frequently asked question, and I've sort of mentioned it earlier in the presentation, you are correct in reading this planner correctly. Okay? Neither a 30-level math nor a 30-level science are required for graduation, but please remember though, post-secondary admissions might require it, so be sure to consider them as part of your plan. Now it is time to have a closer look at the math pathways. Both math and science are dealt with separately because the pathway that you choose may have an effect on your future career goals. There are two pathways that you can follow in grade 10. The workplace and apprenticeship math and the foundations and pre-calculus math. These are both available at the 10 level. Once you enter higher levels, you will see that the two pathways become three. Foundations and pre-calculus math split into two separate pathways, while workplace math continues. You will also see that there is an additional course that can be taken once pre-calculus 30 is complete, and that is calculus 30. The black arrows that you see between the courses indicate the order in which these courses must be completed, so this is in recognition of prerequisites. If a student were to follow the workplace and apprenticeship pathway through the completion of the 30 level and then find out that they in fact needed the pre-calculus 30, for example, over here, they would then need to start at the 10 level in foundations. Okay, so they're over here in the workplace and apprenticeship math 30, they've finished it and found out they need pre-calculus, so they have to go all the way back and start at the beginning here before continuing on to the 20 and then the 30. So depending on when this happens in the student's high school education, this situation could be very discouraging and potentially could delay graduation. So while there is no clear-cut response as to which pathway to take, most times you should pursue Foundations and Pre-Calculus 10 if you are planning to pursue university courses. Workplace and apprenticeship math is good for most trades and any college program that requires simply a grade 12 completion for admission rather than specific subjects. And as I said, there's no clear pathway, so this is just a general recommendation, and it is always best to double check the requirements for admissions as soon as you know what you would like to pursue. An SSCC can assist you in finding admission requirements for programs if you don't know. And if you are really truly unsure about your goals after high school, it is recommended that you take both pathways, both the workplace and the foundations and pre-calculus in grade 10. One math would count as a core and one math would count as an elective, as I've already discussed. So now we're going to have a look at the Science 10. And as I mentioned before, Science 10 in grade 10, there are no choices. You do have to take it. But as with the maths, the sciences are broken down into pathways. You will, once you get, into the grade 11 year, and you're looking at the 20 level courses, the same considerations are necessary for this subject area. It is best to consult your SSCC and post-secondary admissions websites if you are uncertain of the best pathway to follow, or if you need to follow multiple pathways. So some education programs at the post-secondary level will require you at some point to have taken a bunch of different sciences. For example, medicine does prefer that students have bio 30, chemistry 30, and physics 30. So you would then need to make sure that you take the 20 level course that would get you the bio 30 and the 20 level course that would get you the physics and the chemistry 30. So that is about all that we have in this presentation. It was meant to be a cursory look at the credit system and at course selection. Having said that, we know that it is a lot of information at one time, and if you have additional questions, we encourage you to reach out to us.